Oh my god, guys, Amazing Lucas is back making PlayStation fanboy videos. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so recently, the CMA finally allowed the Activision Blizzard acquisition, which means that now nobody is, trying to stop or prevent the acquisition from happening, which means that it'll sooner or later go through. And Amazing Lucas, surprisingly, isn't very happy about this. Now, he pretends like he doesn't care. He even calls his video, that the purchase is a nothing burger, apparently. But as you'll see and notice very quickly from this video, is, that he really, most definitely cares quite a lot about this issue. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the video.
Deal is practically done. Oh my goodness.
Oh, how could I have forgotten about this? How is this man still using the same CGI intro that he made in like a basic template on Movie Maker like 10 years ago? Like, that just tells you about the quality of this channel. My guy's making videos in the exact same format that was popular back in 2011. The innovation on this channel is insane.
So, if you haven't heard, Microsoft is this much closer to securing the Activision Blizzard deal.
Okay, quick interruption. I don't know why he's doing the thing with his fingers. Go like, oh, this much closer, like that's just a tiny little bit closer. The deal's basically almost done. Nobody's opposing it anymore. So this is pretty disingenuous of Lucas. But hey, I would have expected nothing else from Amazing Lucas.
But all in all, from what it looks like, right, since FTC, they're out of the picture, they're going to close the deal. They're going to seal this Activision Blizzard deal. And I'm seeing a lot of praise. I'm seeing a lot of people going, yeah, oh, this is awesome. A lot of people on Twitter, now if you don't follow me, it's Amazing Lucas fans, but a lot of people are praising this deal. And this is something that I've said before, and that is, why? Can someone explain that to me? Because I'm not sure what there is to praise about this deal.
How do you not understand? Do I have to explain it to you? I clearly do, because you're not very bright. People are happy because games are going to be coming to their platform. Activision Blizzard games will now be coming to Game Pass, and new Activision Blizzard games will launch day one on Game Pass. On top of that, a lot of games on PC from Activision Blizzard are locked to the Battle.net launcher, but they're not going to be coming to Steam like Overwatch 2 already has. This obviously is very pro-consumer, and this is why people are happy. And there's also people happy because they think that Microsoft might revive some dead Activision IPs, or because they're happy because they think that this deal might get more exclusives on the Xbox console. There's lots of reasons why people are happy about the deal.
Can you honestly say, I know this is hard for a lot of Xbots out there, but can you honestly say that you're genuinely impressed with the service that you've been getting from Xbox? Can you genuinely say that, hey, I'm loving the first-party games that they're giving me. I'm loving the service and the quality of games that I have via Game Pass, that Microsoft has been delivering to me?
I mean, I don't have an Xbox, and I don't really see how this is relevant at all to the point he's trying to make. But yeah, I guess if I had to pick between Xbox and PlayStation, I have a PC, but I pick Xbox simply based on the variety of genres that they have as exclusives. To be fair, Nintendo still has the best exclusives, let's be honest, but Game Pass is awesome as well, by the way.
And if you can't say that with 100%, integrity, with 100% of confidence, then this really, I don't see this as a win.
Yeah, but you're forgetting one thing, Lucas. You're stupid, you're dumb, so obviously you wouldn't see it as a win because you lack the brain capacity to think of why this is a good thing. This doesn't just benefit Xbox fans who are hoping that there's possible new exclusives in the future, which by the way is very likely, but it also just affects normal fucking people who just have Game Pass and are getting more, out of that subscription service now, or people who prefer to play on Steam than on Battle.net, which is fucking everybody. It just benefits regular consumers. That's why this is a win.
I see this as just a big conglomerate taking, buying what they can buy because they can't innovate. That's what it seems like. Since they can't create, they're just simply buying up.
Yeah, because Sony definitely didn't just recently buy Bungie. That didn't happen, right? They didn't buy Insomniac a couple years back. Did you know actually that all of the most successful studios of Sony, of PlayStation, right? Like Sucker Punch, Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Bungie, like I just said, they were all bought up because they were very successful and talented studios, and then Sony bought them to make games exclusively for PlayStation. But that's okay, right? Because that was a long time ago. It was okay for Sony to do it back then. It's not okay for Microsoft to do it now. That's not hypocrisy.
Right? They're buying up the real estate of the gaming community. I don't see that as a win, because were people happy with Redfall?
You gotta love these classic PlayStation fanboy tactics where they just only bring up bad games and never good games. Like, yeah, he brings up Redfall, and Redfall sucked, right? But you'll never hear him bring up, like, Hi-Fi Rush, which is a game that also came from the Bethesda deal that was really, really good and did everything it tried to do perfectly. Everybody liked that game, but because it's very good, PlayStation fanboys will just pretend it doesn't exist. Because they can't say anything bad about it. I've seen them try, and it's just like, oh, it has like cartoon graphics, and therefore it's for children, and therefore it sucks. But that's not real criticism, right? So they will only bring up games like Redfall that they know they can criticize, and not actually bring up any of the good games that came out of these acquisitions.
I mean, are people really happy with Starfield? I know it's a mixed bag. People are saying, oh, it's the game of the generation. But if we're going to be honest, if Starfield came out as a PlayStation exclusive, if we're going to be honest, if Starfield came out as a PlayStation exclusive, would many of the Xbox who are praising this game, do you think they would have the same praise?
No, Lucas. The Xbox fanboys would indeed not be praising the game if it launched as a PlayStation exclusive. Normal people would, but hardcore Xbox fanboys wouldn't. But you know what's funny about this? And that you don't seem to understand because you're too fucking stupid? Is that you and PlayStation fanboys would be sucking the cock of Bethesda if this game was a fucking PlayStation exclusive. You would be praising it up and down. You would love the fucking game. And that's the funny part that you're either in denial about or don't seem to understand, is that yes, if this was a PlayStation exclusive, a lot of the Xbox fanboys would not be praising the game. But you would. And it's funny because in about 10 seconds, he's gonna lie about Starfield to try and make it look worse than it is.
If you had 100-something planets and only 6 of them had actual life on them, and I mean life loosely.
It's already a lie. What do you mean life loosely? There's literally like cities in this game with people in them. That's not life loosely, that's just life. That's like walking into Berlin, like a city with a couple million people living in it, and then go, oh, there's barely anybody here. That's not how it works.
But if only 6 of them had life where you could interact and do quests, would they be praising it? Or would they be taking a giant dog poop on the game?
Yes, they would be, despite the fact that you just, I guess, lied about Starfield. But they would be shitting on the game if it was a PlayStation exclusive. You, on the other hand, would be praising the hell out of it and proclaiming it the greatest game of all time. Because you're a PlayStation fanboy. That's how these things work. I'm glad you finally realized.
So I think there's a lot of bias towards Starfield. I played Starfield. I bought it early so I could have early access. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't really impressed.
No, you weren't impressed with Starfield? I could not tell. I had no idea. You, a PlayStation fanboy who hates everything Xbox does, didn't like an Xbox exclusive? I am shocked.
And I still have that issue when it comes to Sony, as you can see with Spider-Man 2. I think there's a lot of squandered potential. Now, Sony beats Microsoft, I would say 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, okay? But at the same time, they seem to be falling in a pitfall where it's like, well, they don't have to worry about Xbox. So that means they're less creative, they're less innovative on the games that they're putting out.
Is it just me or is this weird? Like, he's criticizing a PlayStation game, right? Which is progress. Good job. Good job, Lucas. You're being de-brainwashed from your fucking PlayStation cult. But how are you only noticing now that Sony's games are the exact same every single fucking time? It's not like they're just now losing creativity and, being less innovative. Their games have been the exact same third-person action stealth game with cinematic cutscenes since fucking, Uncharted 1.
And that's taken a toll on people who don't really care about Xbox versus PlayStation. We care about quality games. I came from an Xbox 360, all right? then got a PS4. So the concept really isn't about devoting yourself to one company or one console over the other. It's about devoting yourself to quality game.
My guy, you have been playing the exact same third-person action RPG with stealth elements and cinematic cutscenes from PlayStation. For 10 fucking years straight you've been playing those games, and you're only now realizing that they're all the same, uncreative, non-innovating trash, essentially. The fuck do you mean it's about quality games?
That's what it's about. And if you juxtapose this acquisition with, Phil Spencer talking about, hey, if Game Pass, doesn't see significant growth by, 2027, it's going to be game over. We're going to take ourselves out of the gaming market. And if you haven't looked at Game Pass isn't growing. It's not. It's been on, they constantly miss their numbers time and time and time again.
Yeah, but like, who cares? I don't really see how this like affects me. I'm still as the consumer, I'm still profiting, right? And I really doubt that Xbox will just leave the industry completely if they don't get their numbers. Mainly because they're spending this much money on acquiring studios. And I know what Phil Spencer said about leaving the industry. Okay, calm down. That's not what I mean. I think that if they don't get their numbers, they're gonna stop with Xbox and with Xbox Game Pass. But they'll probably become like a third-party publisher. Otherwise, you know how many studios they've bought up now? If they just leave completely, that means never a new Doom game, never a new Bethesda game, never a new Call of Duty. Like, that would just be insane. So I doubt they'll leave completely if they don't hit their numbers. I think they'll just go third party, probably.
In addition to that, you compound that with, as far as the lack of sales that Game Pass causes, then it's a double whammy. And with them not innovating, not creating, it's only a matter of time. That's what it looks like. It's a matter of time. All these acquisitions aren't going to help when it comes to a lack of innovation in gaming.
What do you mean innovating? PlayStation isn't innovating either, right? The only people who are innovating is like Nintendo and like Valve, I guess, because the Index and the Steam Deck. But then the Steam Deck again was probably very heavily inspired by the Nintendo Switch. When was the last time PlayStation innovated? Like in the last fucking 10, 15 years? They haven't. Okay, and when you mean like, oh, they're not creating, well, these companies they're buying are creating for them in the same way that Sony's bought up studios are creating for them. It's kind of how that works, right? So what you're saying doesn't really make any sense. Sony and Xbox have been doing the same exact thing they have been doing since like they got into the fucking console game to begin with.
All these acquisitions aren't going to help when it comes to people going towards your product, because you're trying to buy talent and you're not even doing anything with that talent.
The fuck does he mean? Like, the talent they're buying up is making new games, so that is doing something with the talent. Are you fucking retarded?
Now, in the meantime, Sony definitely has some gaps, but it's a little hard to see because you're laughing at the poor display that is Microsoft, where it's like, Sony, you shouldn't be laughing that hard because your time is coming if you don't innovate and create and put out some killers as well.
Yeah, wow. Wow, he's realizing, guys. He's realizing. Amazing Lucas is realizing that Sony also sucks and that the games they're making aren't that great. He is so close to being able to properly critically think and no longer be brainwashed.
If Wolverine looks like a bland, a non-innovative, non-inspiring game, that's not going to be a W. That's going to be a massive L. And it's going to hurt Sony going forward. So I'm all for competition. That's why I enjoy. That's what I like. When it comes to this acquisition, I don't see a win for anyone. It's not a win for Xbox players because you still haven't gotten anything out of it. And it's not a win for PlayStation players because any type of exclusivity when it comes to Xbox and their acquisition, we're not going to see the impacts of that until decades from now. So it's like, okay, well, kudos to you. I guess you get to have access to games that we've had access to.
Lucas, what are you on about? It's still good for people who have an Xbox. It's still good for people who have a PC. It's just not good for people on PlayStation. People on PlayStation are the only people who don't benefit from the acquisition directly, right? Because people who have access to Game Pass benefit. People who are on PC in general benefit, right? The only people who don't benefit is PlayStation. And even then, let's say you're on PlayStation and there's an Activision Blizzard franchise that you really, really like that hasn't been around for a couple of years because Activision canceled it or whatever, and imagine it gets brought back. I assume you're excited regardless of the fact what platform it's on. It might suck it's not on PlayStation,
but any of this exclusivity talk, like I said, at least I believe the papers were like 10 years or 15 years down the road. So it's like, okay, we'll worry about it when it comes, when that comes. And if you don't think they're not going to have new IPs to substitute the impact of them maybe possibly losing exclusivity to Call of Duty or something else, then you're crazy.
No, I hope they do that. I hope PlayStation tries to make new games to compete with Call of Duty, or maybe even like Bethesda RPGs and stuff like that. I would love for them to create new amazing games that I want to play, because that's only better for, everyone and for competition, right? And also the thing he says about exclusives not coming to Xbox for another 10 years, I think that only applies to COD. I'm not quite sure, but I highly doubt that if Activision for some reason like revived fucking Skylanders, they're obligated to put that on all systems. But hey, whatever, I don't know. Anyway boys, after this, Lucas just kind of talks more and more about how everybody needs to innovate and create more, like Sony used to do, which I don't know when they used to do that. I guess like when they brought out the PS2 or whatever, but yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I think this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.